Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening podcast, and today is an episode number 53. In today's episode, we are going to discuss about our Twin Flame runner. What does our runner feel when they run away, and why do they run away? And what is this concept around running and chasing and divine feminine and divine masculine? And why do we tend to believe that our runner doesn't love us or doesn't care about us, and so on and so on? I'd like to say one of the things first, that twin flame connection is completely different than any kind of other relationships such as in 3D. Whether you're meeting your soulmate or your karmic, or there is another lesson to learn in that terms in this journey that you're meeting a person, twin flames are not the way we're going to solve this. There is no, how do I say, like a 3D element that makes sense in this journey. I know we're trying to make sense a lot of it on this journey, and we're trying to find the ways that this is the right way to do, and this is the wrong way to do, and this is how it's supposed to be, and I'm not accepting this, and I'm not accepting that, and so on and so on. I totally agree with all of this. I believe that twin flames are a journey inwards. It's the journey where we're going to see ourselves from the mirror and realizing, wow, I can do all of that. I can be all of this, but why am I running from myself? And I'm gonna really start with the fact of running from yourself. And I know that you will not like this. We don't like hearing on this journey that it's a journey within ourselves. We like to know about it or think about it that my twin flame should do this, my twin flame doesn't act like this, my twin flame, my twin flame, my twin flame. But the truth is that the journey is actually all inside of you. The answers are inside of you. And I'm going to tell you that the moment you're meeting your twin flame, it's not a random act, it's not a random day. It's all somehow being you've been already prepared for that. Are you prepared for meeting a twin flame as a term? Definitely not. And are you prepared for what is coming with this journey? No. Or at the same time, you are a little bit prepared, because I believe that you most probably have been a part of twin flame journey, like in that term, spiritual journey, more or less. You've been spiritual, you've been practicing spirituality, and more or less, like, I would say you are like an edge that you kind of have the knowledge, but you haven't really used that in a practice yet. And twin flames come to our life to show us that the door is open. The door is open to the infinite possibilities. And now you're going to step into that. Many of you have asked me all the time about it, that are like when I say that twin flames are not a love story. And it doesn't mean that I don't believe that twin flames are not a love. We are the purest form of love, and I've always said that. But this journey is not about the love. This journey is your spiritual awakening. It's a journey where you go within, and your twin flame who comes to your life is the guide, is the mirror, and is the best version of yourself in that terms, to help you to become your best version. I'm going to say that many of us meet our twin flames exactly on the time where we can feel inside of us that these things are not working for me. I feel there is something more out there. I know that there is something more. But you also are so comfortable in your 3D life that you don't want to really take a risk. You're not really willing to make a change. You're not taking this step forward, which you know that doesn't need to be there no longer. And you have these answers actually inside of you, what you need to do. And I'm just going to bring here a couple of examples just to bring you an understanding. What do I mean under this? For example, you've been in a marriage or in a relationship that has been fine, but you feel that is not no longer serving you from the frequency where it's supposed to serve you. You feel like something is not right. Or also you've been suffering for a very long time, let's say in a karmic relationship, and learning all over and over and over again the same lesson. And all you have to do is actually to step out of it and say, okay, it's time now. Second thing is with a job, for example. You've been doing a job which you're pretty good at, but you feel that there is a higher purpose for you to do. You feel like you have some kind of an information or some kind of an understanding that you can do it this way, but you don't really know how to start. You don't know how to really get things going, and you're like, okay, I have to pay my bills, I have to do this and that, but I still don't know how to do what I'm supposed to do. Or then, for example, with your health or with your well-being, you know that you need to improve it. You know that you need to change certain things, and but you haven't been in a sense of guided. I know that actually many of us who are meeting our twin flames, they lose weight immediately. And it is again a proof of your love energy, that this energy is so strong that it fuels your body with this magnificent energy that is so powerful that you're going to lose weight, that you're going to look younger. I tell you, every single person I have a call with, when they tell me their age, I'm looking at them and I'm like, well, that can't be real. Like, you look like nothing like this. I would have suggested like maximum on this area, and then they say, oh, I'm 40, I'm 50, and I'm like, you look like 30. Like, what is this thing? But this is exactly that law of energy, and that's why you also become very attractive at one point and that journey to others, because you have this beautiful energy inside of you. You are the love. Now coming back to your twin flame, when we think what do they feel, or do they even feel anything, I want to say also that your twin flame is you. You, simply the purest form of you, the essence, the soul, same. You are the same. Inside of you, you are the same. Yes, the physical body is different, but your soul is the same. You're sharing the same soul's frequency. And I know it's something that is so hard to wrap your head around it, to realize that the reason they are running is because you are running from yourself, the true self. And I'm going to repeat this one more time. The reason your twin flame ran away from you, is not in touch with you, is because you are running from your true self, the authentic self, not the ego self you have built up, the true one, the one who you are. I'm going to say to you that my twin flame, for example, is an excellent guide for me to realize what I have to do next in my life. So these separations, which I no longer cannot call it as a separation because we are in a regular contact, but I would say there are time to time there are pauses in our conversation. And since I've gone through this process and these stages and all of that, now I don't no longer have that fear that he's not coming back or we are not talking and so on. This is, how do I say, the moment we don't communicate or there is a bit of a slow communication, I know that his soul is pushing me energetically to do the next step. So it's like a reminder for me that, are you ready? And sometimes, of course, I'm not ready. Currently, I have to start the projects which I'm literally not starting, or finding excuses all the time. But also his communication is not coming through on 3D as easily until I started. And I have kept quite a good journal and quite a good, how do I say, information about it. And so now I know that my twin flame, so-called runner, is actually the guide for me to look within, that what do I have to improve for my soul in order to become who I am. And I'm actually subconsciously doing the same thing for my twin flame. Because we are the same soul. We are two different human beings, totally, but we are the same soul. So every single fear, every single limiting belief, every single thought, feeling, everything is connected. So if you like, how can you test this? Is quite simple. Like, there are things which I always recommend to do. Do the journaling. Really go within. I have a telepathy podcast episode out on YouTube and Spotify, where you can do the communication with your twin flame through telepathy. And when you write these things down on your journal, you'll have the answers what you're seeking for. We have to understand that the moment we are born into this world, we will be start programming who we are. It depends on which country you are born, so there's always a program involved, but we're gonna get to that program so deeply that we forget of our essence. It's very hard to stay true who you are, because you go to school, and if you stand out in a school differently and you don't do as the society expects you, or your parents and so on, you're going to have a trouble. So you're going to mold yourself into society. And another day I listened to this Jim Gary, and he said that, what is depression? And saying that depression is when our bodies are too tired of being somebody else. And I find that this is exactly that part of the dark night of the soul, that moment when our twin runs away, it's like this moment where your body tells you, I am so tired of being somebody else who I'm not. I'm so tired of you not listening to me, and I'm so tired that I cannot leave my truth. And so our twin flames, even though they run away from us, they are the biggest gift. Painful, I agree. So now if we wonder, if your twin flame, why do they run away? What is this thing? Number one, like I said, they have to run away because you are running away from your true essence. That's the first thing. Why mirror exercises are actually very powerful over here. Because you go within and you realize, oh wow, I have a mission on here. I have to do something. This is what is calling me. And your twin flame will run until you stop running from yourself. The true self. When you start doing what you're supposed to do, when you keep that journey going and you realize, okay, I'm getting these messages. Sometimes it's hard. In the beginning, it's very hard, especially if you're not used to meditation, if you're not used to being alone in the quiet. This is something, we live in a world where we always have to have something. We always have to talk to someone. We always have to be on social media. We always have to do something. But we also have to learn that we need to get very comfortable of sitting alone in a quiet and hear ourselves. And this is also a part of the twin flame journey. The moment we sit down, we hear ourselves, how your soul feels good. And so is your twin flame going to feel good. And they tend to come back. I know that often when I do channeling for my clients, what happens is they haven't actually ever really sit down with themselves, because they are very overwhelmed with the situation. A lot of things are happening. You don't no longer know what is the real, what is not real, what is happening inside of you, and you're trying to figure it out. So you're constantly Googling about when my twin flame is coming back. Is he ever gonna come back? Why did my twin flame run away? And so you're starting to get used to with this information. So all you do is researching. And I did the same, which is, I think there's nothing wrong with that, because all of a sudden it's like a new door is open and there is so much information that you don't even know where to start. But we also need to find a time where we're going to sit with these feelings and with these emotions and hearing ourselves. Of course, I have made for that the channeling possible on my website, just because I know that this helps you a lot to calm down what you're supposed to do. And I'm gonna tell you another thing. Often there are these things where we have to do that we don't want to do them, like we're trying to avoid them constantly. I know many of you have listened to my podcast previously where I had this story about my podcast. I didn't want to start my podcast whatsoever. I was like, if now we're gonna end this season, I think up to, I don't know how many episodes I will be doing at the end of this year. But I remember myself like, I will never do this. In the first episode, it was said that if 10 people listen to this podcast, I'll be happy and I feel like my mission is fulfilled. And these words came from my soul. There was nothing I planned or I was thinking. I just had this voice and this like bugging thing inside of me that I have to start my podcast with what I had to say. And I didn't want to do it. So I was delaying it for a month or two, I think over a month, until I was like, okay, I need to sleep. I need to get myself together. And guess what? The moment I had released my first episode, my twin flame told me everything, how he felt. So now when I looked back on my journal, I was like, wow, I wrote these things. I wrote these things that you leaving me has been the most painful thing. And I thought this was my thought, but he thought the same way, that I left him, that I disappeared. And I've now spoken to so many of you, and I'm so thankful and grateful. Honestly, you are the most beautiful souls on this earth, and for me to have this honor to talk to you and help you and guide you is way beyond gratitude. I mean, I am so thankful for this. I don't even have words, but I am very, very thankful. And the last group call we had, I'm trying to put this on a Patreon, because the way it ended, this call, it was beyond amazing. So you can listen that on Patreon for those who are supporting me. But let's move on from here with the fact that thinking that that twin flame doesn't feel, that your runner doesn't feel anything. And I know I've said that many times, but this is something I'm about to say again. This is not true. They do feel, but they also get very scared. So they often can run away for many reasons, such as seeing that this relationship cannot work at this time. Because, for example, you are married, or you're living in a different countries, or, for example, he's going through or she's going through something in their life that feels like, well, that cannot happen, so I'm gonna disappear. The second thing is that the fear of this love. And because this love is so powerful, this love doesn't have a word. I am still seeking for it, searching for it, and I don't have a word for this love. This love is so divine and it's so unconditional, but it's more than unconditional, because you're falling in love with pretty much a stranger, in a sense that you'll be willing to give up your own life. And that is weird, because I had my soulmate, and I was just reflecting. I reflected back, how did I fall in love with my soulmate? And I can say that with soulmate, it gradually happens over the time. You match very well, you have all of that. I will be making an episode of difference of soulmate, karmic, and twin flames, like how we're going to find them, what is the reason behind it, and so on. So make sure to like and subscribe if you would like to know my input about it. But with twin flames, it's like it's an instant connection. And it obviously it can be that the fact that you meet them way in a younger age or stage where you don't really understand, but then when you get older, you all of a sudden have this like that, like someone has switched on a switch and you're like, oh my God, what is this thing? I have never felt something so instant and so powerful. So our twin flames are actually the ones who's gonna come and protect us and make us, like as yourself, who you are from your essence. So the separation, it is difficult. I'm not saying it's easy, but this is necessary until you go within. And I'm gonna tell you certain things that what it means to go within. Because our society tends to that we blame others about what is happening in our life, how our partner is, uh, how our relationships are, how our work is, and how are the other people, and they're hurting us, and so on. I want to say that when you go within, you have all the answers why these things are happening to you. Why, for example, there has been, because I don't know why we want to live a life where I would say humans, we are a bit lazy and so on, but like it feels like our society thinks that if you go to school and you go to university and then you have a job, that from there on you no longer need to learn, you no longer need to face challenges, you no longer need to push yourself to the next limit. But that's where everything starts. So why do we want to get to the point where we no longer grow as a person? We want to live a life and grab as much as information as we can. So we need to face challenges. So we need to do something new that we have never done before. So we need to listen ourselves. And twin flames, exactly, your runner, comes to your life to show you this. So thinking that your twin flame does not feel anything towards you, I would consider this as a lie if it's your true twin flame. But now it's the big question out there. Why do they run away? I already mentioned one thing. You're running from yourself. Stop running from yourself. Go within. You have all the answers, all the tools within. How to get better over there? Number one, start meditation. Do the breath work, sound healing, kundalini raising, mirror exercise. Become honest with yourself. Start journaling. Watch what you're consuming. What kind of information? What kind of like overall, like food, alcohol, drugs, the cigarettes. Watch out what you're consuming, because everything is energy and that creates your reality at the same time. And you also have to become very honest with yourself that sometimes you have to let go of certain things that are no longer there. And that can be difficult too, because we are used to that with certain things, what we have. But life is a constant moving and nothing stays in the same place. And if you're stuck somewhere, if things are not moving, that means you need to make a shift. And there's a reason why there is a blockage. So here is why listening to your twin flame. So listening to your twin flame, what did your twin flame tell you about yourself, who you are and who you're supposed to become? And try to go back of what your twin flame told you about yourself. Of course, we can redo that through channeling, and you can do channeling by yourself. I've been thinking to put together the guide how you can do the channeling by yourself, because I know that many of you had a call and they were feeling something they never felt before, and were asking me how they can do them by themselves. And I'm trying to put together a workshop for that, or something. I try to do my best. So the next thing in this thinking of your twin flame is running and not caring about you, I'm going to really say, if it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Like in that terms that you're going to be with your twin flame. But it will not happen before we're going to go within. So if you have a tendency to blame others, that this is happening because of others, this is happening because of this is this, then it's very unlikely that your twin flame will return. You have to understand that everything is a reflection of you, and twin flame is a reflection of you too. And the way they act and the way they do means that you are doing something similar. And I know you do not like hearing that whatsoever, especially those who have done a lot of inner work and is like, what do you mean? My twin flame doesn't even come close to me. Well, allow it to come. Have you ever tried to say that, okay, I'm now open for you. I'm willing to accept this journey as it is. I'm willing to accept it as we are, as our true selves, where there is no ego, which means you do this, you do that, you be this, I want this, our life should be like this, that and this. Because it's a soul, you are the same essence, you are the same soul. And if it happens that in 3D life you get to be together, then it's amazing. But I also want to tell you a little secret. When you go within and you really start trusting it, you trust your soul, you trust the feelings that what you have, even the pain what you have, and you just feel like, oh wow, I am this, I can do this, I can become this, then it all becomes like you start living, you start feeling things, and the pain starts to fade away. When our twin flames run, they run for a reason. And it's not because they don't love us. And this is something I totally disagree. Our twin flames deeply love us. I want to say that there are different types of love. But this love is a soul-connected love, which is also crazy. Because we never experienced something like this. We were not prepared for that. And now, all of a sudden, you can hear their thoughts. You can hear what is happening. You have this weird knowing about things that ideally you shouldn't know, but now you know. And you also feel that you've been called out for something bigger than just for this love story. I had another day of thought about it where I received an email, which was, I wouldn't call it a negative, but it was more like I don't even know how to say that. I wouldn't call that negative. It was more like, I understand, desperate. And the way the person was writing for me was all in a negative sense. Oh, my twin flame is with this other person. This other person is a bad person. This new couple doing this, and this person is not good. And she will see it because I know that he's a bad person. And one day she will notice that. And then what is going to happen to her? And I was just reading this and I was like, that's not twin flame frequency. First of all, you would never ever wish anything bad to your twin flame, no matter how painful it is. And I know I've been in this pain, but you would never wish them that this partner they have is a bad person or anything. What you would do instead, you would feel like, oh, my twin is learning something and is going through something. I'm going to send a lot of love. I'm going to be with them, helping through to go that process. You are the love and light. And if you wish your twin flame to come back, you have to be on the love and light frequency. Not in a frequency where it's the fault of everybody else. I remember when my twin flame ran away, and I had, first of all, no idea that this is going to come. That because that way of cutting off the communication, like like I've said on my previous episode, it was like electricity was cut off. So I was like, how come like there's no conversation no longer? And for 4 months there was nothing. It was one of the most devastating months. And what did I do over these months? I found the Kurt Johnson, which was my first, and I would still say to him, even yes, there are certain things I disagree with from now on based on my own experience, but his fundamental was great for me to realize this is not a love story. This is my soul journey. So what I started to do immediately, I was looking into the power of now. Read again The Alchemist, which I really recommend. You're Not Dying, You're Just Waking Up by April. I can't tell her last name. Anyhow, these books are very good. And if you have any other book recommendations, put them down on the comments to help others. That has been helping you. And I started very quickly to go within. But one of the things that was a little bit tricky was over there that there was this tarot reading. Of course, I listened to tarot because that was, I mean, I don't have anything against tarot. Those who are listening, they might think I have something against it. But no, I don't have anything against tarot. But what tarot does to you is it's giving you an illusion of not to do what you're supposed to do. What I mean is, like, it's going to tell you, like, there was a situation, I remember that there was I don't know whose tarot it was, but it was like, oh, your divine masculine is waking up and going through such a pain, and now they are suffering because they realize that they left you and they're feeling bad. And for me in that moment, I was like, wow, yes, finally he's going through what I was going through, and that was really painful for me. So now he's understanding what I'm going through. But today, when I reflect back to this, I'm like, why did I even thought that when he is going through his dark night of the soul and having a pain is a good thing for me? But obviously I was in my ego still because I was hurting and I had so much to learn and I had so much to go through. So in my desperation, I wanted him to feel that. I wanted him to go through that. And meanwhile, the information I had was that my twin flame does not feel any of these things. So I thought I'm the only one on that journey. I'm going to say one of the things here. Each twin flame journey is different. So which means that it's not always parallel. Mine was most likely pretty parallel with the fact that we both felt the same connection. We felt the connection at the same time. We both were missing each other and we both were thinking like, this is never going to work out. And I knew why it's never going to work out because I'm married, I have children, I have a beautiful life, and I love my husband, I love my children. So, but there was, of course, a moment where I was willing to leave everything behind because that energy was like a drug. I cannot explain this. But then from there, I started learning. I started to go within and I did things I had never done before. Mentioning again, sound healing, meditation. Meditation is in my daily practice. I think I do it about 2-3 times per day. And I just want to give you a little hint over here. Meditation doesn't have to be where you're going to go sit down in a cross-legged position and now you're going to do the meditation. When you have a moment of silence, you go into the room where, it's silent there. And you just can lie down and you go within and listening to yourself, what it is trying to tell you. And there are all the answers because your soul knows what you need to do next. Your soul has all the answers. And you can communicate with your twin flame by asking anything. I'm going to tell you a funny story that happened to me another day. I had a bit of an argument with my husband and I didn't like it in the sense of the frequency and the language of it. Like I said, I am very careful of the language I'm using for in terms of low vibration and so on, the words that I'm using, if it's a low vibrational sound, or I will not say it, and I have my own thing. I'm a bit special about it. And I didn't like it at all, and I felt like, because one of the things is that I have a big problem with is that when we say something, let's say we are spiritually connected, then we also have to act regarding to. It's not like I'm meditating and then thinking, oh, why the world is against me? I'm meditating, I'm doing yoga, I'm doing this, but the world is against me, whatever. Well, you are against yourself. Because when you are able to say that, because you don't go with the flow, you don't accept the life as it comes, you're not in control of every single thing that is happening. You have that inner power inside of you that is allowing you to feel like, okay, this happens because of that, and this happens because of this. And what do I have to learn from it? Oh, that's interesting. I've never seen things from that angle. I feel I have so much to learn. But instead of defending myself, I'm like, wow, that's a very interesting point. I never thought of that. Can you tell me more? Can you share more? Although I was never like that. I'm a Gemini, those who know me. I used to always be the one who knows who likes to know the information, because I gather information very quickly. I had more of this, that I think it's this way, and I was a bit ignorant, taking another side of the information. While now I feel like, wow, I'm very stupid. Although I don't like to use that word, but I would say I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to grow, and each situation, each thing that is coming on my life is teaching me something, is showing me the next door. And so coming back to the story, I didn't like how he spoke to me or my children, and I was sitting in a car and I was driving, and I told to the guides, again, your spirit guides, you can always ask your spirit guides if you don't have the answers. I asked my spirit guides, like, give me the answer, give me the sign, what I have to do next, what is my way, because I don't have right now. I feel I'm stuck over here. And funny enough, I came back and I had a call with a woman who I was supposed not to have a call with. But because there was a problem with my website, those of you who know, sometimes you cannot book in some reasons. I still haven't figured it out. You can always email me quickly then and saying, oh, I cannot book, could you help me out here? And I'll do it manually. So do not hold yourself back with that. I know there are sometimes issues. But what I wanted to say is that I come to the call, and turns out she's Gemini, very close to me, one day apart. She told me my life story in front of me, and I'm like, okay, I know why I had to have this call, and I was just asking the signs from the universe. So what I'm trying to tell you is that you have that inner power of talking to yourself, listening to yourself, not to run away from yourself. And the more you run away from yourself, the more your twin flame runs away from you. I just want to one more thing I want to talk about it, why your twin flame runs away from you. Number one is your twin flame. If he is your twin flame will always run away from you at one point. And I'm going to say to you another surprising thing. It can also happen that you run away from your twin flame. We switch the roles time to time. There's a reason for that. And because when we do our healing, when we do our mirror work, when we go within, and they tend to come back on that moment because their soul feels, all right, you have done the work, you are who you are, then they tend to come back very quickly. I tell you, this happens extremely quickly. Of course, it's not going to happen in 24 hours if we talk of this quickly. We have to know that every single change we make in our frequency, in our soul's frequency, takes about 14 to 21 days. So normally when you had a call with me, I always tell you, the change of your frequency will take about 21 days. It will be a little bit intense because I'm activating certain things for you. but it happens because I want you to become your higher self. And of course, during this time, you have really up and down emotions where you feel, no, I'm not on this twin flame journey. This is not good. And the next day you feel, wow, I understand that things are happening. And often your twin flame reaches out to you during this time. Especially I've noticed that those who have written me back that about 85 or 80% of the time when we have done channeling, your twin flame tends to reach out very quickly or say to you something, especially those who are doing with themselves. They're realizing, okay, yes, I have to do this meditation, I have to do this and that to connect on a soul level, because everything is frequency. I can tell you 100%, if you think back, you've had situations in your life where you think about someone. Let's say you have a friend, Sarah, and you think about, oh wow, how Sarah is doing. And guess who is gonna somehow text you or reach out to you, and you'll be like, Sarah, you don't believe I was just thinking about you another day. But how does Sarah know to reach out to you after all these years? Because you put this energy out there. There is this thing. And now we're talking of the pull and push energy, which is often talked about it, that the more you think about your twin flame, the more you miss your twin flame, the more you are like trying to get in touch with them, the more they're going to run. In certain senses, yes, because why is this way? Because you are not going within, you're running from yourself, you're projecting all of that love from your twin flame. You're projecting all of that happiness from your twin flame. You're thinking if you have your twin flame, then you'll be this person, then you'll be that, then you'll be doing it. But you have to become that first. So it is a journey inward, and the soul, that's why I really enjoy channeling calls, is because I get to see your soul. And this ego starts to fade away, like step by step, and that's beautiful. So it's a completely another level. So that's why I'm very excited when we're gonna have a retreat here. How I'm gonna see you from your soul level. How I'm gonna connect with you in your soul level. I always say, why you can of course always send me your story to inflameawakeningjourney@gmail.com. But why do I like to have a cause? Is because I hear the frequency, and when I hear the frequency, I get to know so much more than from just reading it, and that also gives me an overview. What are the things you need to let go of? I want to say again and repeat this, and I'm like a broken record, but this is something, until you don't start doing it, do not expect to see so much of a change. Do not expect that your twin flame will just come back to you and say, yes, I'm back to you in your life. So here is just a few things. Meditation, your daily meditation. Find a time to go within where it's a quiet moment and you're listening. After your meditation, do the journaling. Find a time to write these things down. Put it even on your phone or somewhere. Put these things down, because everything what we do is energy. You just can't ignore it. Next thing is, if you really miss your twin flame at this moment and you really want to connect with them, talk out loud. Talk out loud how you feel and how you wish and what do you see. I ask yourself, when was the last time you opened your mouth and you said, I miss you so much. I miss these conversations, what we had, these things and that. Have a good 30 minutes conversation with yourself. And go there with the love energy. Watch what happens. You can definitely listen to this other episode of mine, the telepathy with your twin flame, where I teach you. Because another day I read the comment where the woman was saying that the moment I started doing this, I started crying and feeling this connection. So these are the things. So if you're wondering why your twin flame runs away and what does your twin flame feel during this separation process? They feel a lot as well. They totally feel. And so that's why they often either start drinking, taking drugs, dating somebody else to find the comfort, distracting themselves with the work, doing everything they can in order not to feel what they felt, because that was very intense for them too. And whoever is going to tell me that it's not true, I don't believe that, because I've now spoken to so many of you, myself included. And when the time was right, and when I did what I was supposed to do from my soul level, and my twin flame told me everything, literally everything, how he felt, what was the connection. I was reading it another day where it was written like, this connection was from the moment we met. I was like, yeah, but I even that moment didn't understand that we had this connection from that moment, because I thought I got sick because it was so intense. Anyways, that was just to bring you, and I know you will not like this episode that much, and I'm totally fine with this, because those who will do what I've been saying you to do, you'll have the answers over there, and I guarantee you that. I can tell you 100%. The moment you go within, mirror work, stop running from yourself, you really start doing what you're supposed to do, that moment your twin flame is back in your life, 100%. If it's your true twin flame, they're back in your life. But then they can go away again. Why they go away again? Because the next thing is coming. But that time you already know that they will always come back to you. And so let this dynamic happen. Like I said on one of my episodes, we don't own anybody. So we need to trust. For me, thank you so much. It has helped me to get the better computer than I expected, and this will help me to get all of these previous Patreon calls, group calls out there. So just give me a little bit time and I will do all of this. Patreon is $5.99 a month and helps me tremendously to put out more content and share the wisdom and things I know. The next thing is that on the 17th of December, we are going to have our last group call of 2023. And we will also end the first season of our podcast. And so for that, those who are supporting me on Patreon, this channel on Patreon, I'll be choosing 2 lucky winners this time for the channeling calls. Normally it's 1 per month, but this time, as it's Christmas, as it's holidays, and it is a little bit more intense time, I will be choosing 2 lucky winners. So if you're my paid member on Patreon, you'll be the one who can win 1 hour channeling call with me. And I want to also say, for those who would like to have their calls, please try to book them ahead, because it's the holiday season and I've noticed already that it's getting booked very quickly. And I have also a little less time of taking calls. I try to find the time and I try to do the best. But just as an example, for if you're thinking of having a call, then please try to book it in advance, that you'll not have to wait forever. And one more thing, of retreat. So those who are coming to a retreat, this weekend is now coming out the full where to pay, how to pay, what are the accommodations, and so on and so on. So all information is out there. If you are on my email list, you will receive the update. And I've noticed I've started to do something extra for my twin flames, and at the moment it is completely for free. It will happen most probably on Thursdays, so it's a bit complicated maybe for all of you. But as you know, that starting something new, what you're supposed to do, is difficult. And I've decided that I could help you to get started with the thing you want to get started with, and how to, build this new life for yourself. And I've been thinking to start the mentorship for that project as well, and it will be for free in the beginning for sure, for those who sign up. subscribe, and I hope to see you soon over here. Lots of love and
I really get what the love songs are talking about. Oh, and I just wanna tell her how I feel, scream it out loud. Have you ever been in love? Have you ever lost your head? Have you felt like you were out of breath when you saw her in that dress? When your heart is beating fast and you're sweating, you can't stop looking at her smile, then you've been in love. That's how you know you've been in love.